everybody, my name is Tanya and welcome to my wrap up for the Xmas Booktubeathon. So it's all over. It's now Monday evening here in Australia, so Booktubeathon's been over for a little while now, but I'm getting around to doing my wrap up for you. All in all, I had a really good Xmas Booktubeathon. I got a lot read and a lot of things checked off, but in waves. There were some times and even one day that was really a complete write-off. So day one was that write-off. It was always going to be a struggle to get any reading done on that day because I was working full-time 8:30 to 5 on the Friday, or at least so I thought. I had got into work but got sent home around midday and then crashed into bed and slept for the afternoon and then crashed again for another 10 hours and woke up feeling much better, which was wonderful. But it meant that basically I got nothing done on the Friday. I did, however, listen to 1 hour of my audiobook because my general commute is 1 hour, half an hour each way to work. So I did get 1 hour listened to of The Wasp Factory by Ian Banks, which is my audiobook in the car at the moment. So that was something for Friday at least. Moving on to day 2 of the Booktubeathon, this is where I got most of my reading done. As I said, I woke up on the morning of Saturday feeling a whole lot better. I stayed in bed surrounded by a whole bunch of books and got quite a lot of reading done. The first book that I picked up on the Saturday is this one, which is 100 Cats Who Changed Civilization. This is the one that I picked out to cover the 3 challenges. So red and green on the cover, red and green, a book that I was meaning to read this year and a book that was gifted to me. And I have been hanging on to this book for almost 6 years now after it was gifted to me, and I hadn't read it, and I'm so pleased that I finally got around to reading it because it was such a charming little book. This is filled with a whole bunch of stories, little stories about the exploits of different cats over history, ranging from just a page in length to a few pages at most. But the one that struck me the most was one of the last little stories. There were the page-long ones, but there were also a couple of little snippet ones at the end of each section. This was broken into various different sections of types of reads. So we had science and nature, history and government, art and literature, popular culture, and profiles in courage. And so at the end of the profiles in courage one is just a little section on a cat named Chu, and that was during World War I, a French soldier wanted to tell a German soldier who was married to his cousin that he'd become a father. So he tied a note to a kitten named Chu who marched blithely across no man's land to deliver the birth message. And I thought that was really, really interesting, that you're on opposite sides of the army and delivering a birth announcement because your cousin-in-law is fighting on the other side, and the only way to get the message across is to tie it to a cat. So there were really interesting little stories in here, and I won't go into them all, but I'm so pleased that I finally picked this up, and this was a lovely 21st present. So as I said, this checked off the first 3 challenges, even if it was a little bit cheaty, combining them all into one. I did make up for that later. After I finished 100 Cats Who Changed Civilization, I picked up a short story collection, and that was my next Agatha Christie read for the month, and that was The Regatta Mystery. The Regatta Mystery is 9 short stories that were spread across these 3 collections, so I was dipping in and out of these for the rest of the afternoon to read the 9 stories contained within that. These were quite a medley of different stories. There were some Poirot's, there were some Miss Marples, a couple of Barker Pines, and one that didn't have a detective at all and was quite an interesting little story actually. A couple of these stories I had read before in different collections, but the majority of them were new, and I thoroughly enjoyed them, as with all Agatha Christie. They also covered the challenge of read a book you meant to read this year, because that is the 11th book of my 12-book Agatha Christie Creator for the year, so of course I wanted to read it this year. So that meant that I was sharing the challenges around a little bit now. The next book that I picked up, which was something that wasn't on my TBR because I hadn't actually unwrapped it yet when I filmed my TBR, was something that I got in my booktube Secret Santa, and that is Random by J.R.R. This I got from Eleanor. My booktube Secret Santa was Eleanor at Eleanor Reads Books, and I will leave a link to her channel down below, and thank you again so much, Eleanor, because this was just fantastic. And it fits 2 of the challenges. It has red and green on the cover, and it was a gifted book, which meant that I could spread all of the challenges around 3 separate books and stop being such a cheater. So I started this on this Saturday night, but I didn't finish it before I got too tired and fell asleep. But on day 3, after taking quite a while to get to reading again because I was watching the big plethora of booktube videos that I've got waiting in my watch list and really didn't make all that much of a dent, and then I finally got to the reading and I finished off for a random, and it was so charming, and I'm so pleased that I got this, and it was such a surprise to get it, and thank you so much. It was wonderful. Unlike everything that I said in my unboxing video for my booktube Secret Santa, this is just one little story. This is a children's story and is about a small dog who gets on the wrong side of a wizard by being rude to him and then biting his pants, and he gets transformed into a toy dog instead, and so he's shrunk down and he's this little toy dog, and it follows the adventures he goes through to try and get back to his normal form. It's obviously not anything like The Lord of the Rings or even like The Hobbit. It's much younger and more fairy tale-esque than that, but it was just charming and I really enjoyed it. And so this was the third book that I completed for the Booktubeathon, which meant I finished the fourth challenge, which was read 3 books over the weekend, and so I managed with 3 books and the 4 challenges, and I was feeling great. After I finished with Rover Random, I then picked up and started making some progress on Christmas Carol and Other Christmas Writings. I've been participating in the Very Dickens Christmas read along, although I haven't really been participating because I've been stalled for weeks in the second story of it, which is The Haunted Man and the Ghost Bargain, and I finally slogged my way through the rest of that story yesterday on Saturday, third day of the Booktubeathon, and I finally got through it, and it's like this mental barrier, that this block of trying to get through this read along has been lifted. I finally got through it. I really didn't enjoy it, but reading the discussion on the Goodreads group, I wasn't the only one who didn't enjoy it, and that feels really good too. So I finished off a chunk of that, and then I also finished a few little short stories in the end of this volume that weren't part of that read along but were in this volume that I wanted to complete as well. On top of that, I also started A Christmas Carol on audiobook, so I have been meaning for years to listen to the Christmas Carol audiobook that I have narrated by Tim Curry, because I think he would be perfect for that role. I listened to the first 50 minutes of that last night and he is doing a fantastic job. I'm really enjoying it, but I didn't have time to finish that off as well. But that's the only thing that I've got before I can say I've completed this entire volume. And so that sums up everything I was able to get done in the Xmas Booktubeathon, and I'm feeling really good about that. All of the books that I completed were quite slight volumes, but in the end they did add up to quite an impressive figure. As I said, I listened to 1 hour of audiobook on the Friday, and then completed 100 Cats Who Changed Civilization, which was 176 pages. The Regatta Mystery, which far from being this whole big thing, was 208 pages. Rover Random at 192 pages, and then I read 111 pages out of this volume and listened to the 50 minutes of A Christmas Carol. So all in all, that added up to 687 pages read over the weekend, which I was really pleased about, and 110 minutes of audiobook listened to. The 4 challenges checked off, 3 books completed, and another 2 made progress on, so I'm feeling really good about all of that. I hope the Booktubeathon went well for you as well. Let me know down in the comments how you went, and as always, thank you all for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye!